Hi, so today I am going to be looking at building a memory expansion for the Compaq Portable 2. Come join me. So in a recent video, I showed you the Compaq Portable 2 that I've got here. That up there, I replaced the CRT in because when I got this unit, the CRT was incredibly worn in, but it's all nice and working now. Now the only thing is, when I was looking at, what other upgrades could I do to it? Maybe it's got a modem or something, who knows? I was looking through the instruction manual and it noted that there's two types of memory expansions for it. There's an ISA card that goes in that allows you to add up to 2 megabytes of memory, and then there's an additional expansion card that plugs into the back of the main board and can provide either 512K or 1.5 mega memory. The thing is, I couldn't find any information about that second expansion card at all, except for that one picture in the manual. There were no details about it online at all. So at that point, I kind of just gave up looking and moved on. However, there was a member of the community on the VC Fed forums, known as BTB. He actually reached out on my Compaq Portable 3 memory expansion video to ask if I had any information about it or if I knew anything, and if not, he was looking at trying to find out any information and reverse engineer and rebuild it from scratch. As soon as I saw the comment, I dove into the VC Fed forums and pitched my full support, and immediately we actually got another member of the community that had one of these very rare cards. He was able to pitch in with his own knowledge, photos, scans of the board. He was able to help us connect some traces, and BTB did a lot of the work here, but now we have a fully working, well, hopefully, reproduction of the original Compaq Portable 2 1.5 megabyte memory expansion card. And yeah, that's what I'm going to go through today. So hopefully I've got the cards here. I'll be putting one together, trying it, seeing what we get with. At this point, I haven't actually built it. No one has. This is the first prototype. We think it looks right, but you don't know until you try. So yeah, I think let's dive over onto the bench and get into that. So today's episode is kindly sponsored by JLC PCB, who offered to provide the PCBs for this gargantuan project. They've been my PCB manufacturer of choice, clearly, for quite a number of years now, across many projects, both personal and commercial ones that I sell on my store. I use them for both PCB manufacturing, and I use their SMD assembly feature quite a lot. They've also got, as part of their SMD fab, a good link into all of the different Chinese sources for SMD components. So they have an incredibly wide range of components to pick from, with very, very good prices. They do provide a really simple to use interface. You simply just drag and drop the Gerber files that you want to print up into this little box here, and that will auto process what you need, give you all the details of what you're printing, including a little preview. Then you can pick all the different settings that you want, and then a couple of weeks later, not even that, a couple of days later in some instances, you get a pretty shiny box rock up at your door with your products in tow. They also offer $2 for between 2 to 8 layers, and with the link down below, they're offering a $60 coupon for new customers to get you started with a decent project like this. So yeah, highly recommend you check them out, and thank you again to JLC PCB for sponsoring this video. Alright, so here's our box. Now, obviously these boards are a little bit wonky sized, so they had to custom make a box for me. But here they are, and these are incredible. Look at that. That looks so freaking good. All right, let's crack into these bad boys. All right, so there is our PCB. That looks so damn cool. And yeah, like I said, we tried to recreate this as closely as possible. So matched up things like the silk screen positions, and the text up here, just has the assembly, a little marked out area for the handwriting of the serial number and whatnot. Little logos in the corners that didn't much make sense, but they were on the original, so we put them there as well. I think the only thing that's really difficult about this is securing enough parts, because as you can tell, there are quite a lot on here. So let's talk about those parts at the moment. Yeah. Now the board repository that has the reproduction data has the full bill of materials for this, which some are easy to get, some are less easy. Obviously, this has quite a lot of memory on board. So by default, the first bank, this is bank 2, because bank 1 is on the actual system. Bank 2 is these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 RAM ICs, and they are actually soldered to the board in the original unit. The rest of the banks 3 and 4 here, are socketed. So that means we need just a crap load of sockets. So I've got, I think, 60 or so at the moment, just for spares, but yeah, there's those. We also have a small spattering of logic ICs down here, and these ones I've actually pulled from parts boards. So I've got my old Portable 3, the one that I was unable to, the main board that I was unable to repair, so I pulled some parts off that, and I've also got a Compaq Portable 2 main board that I pulled some parts off as well. They all go in these slots here. Then every single IC, whether it's socketed or not, has a capacitor for decoupling, which is this mountain right here. Yeah. Then there's also resistors all over the place. So we have some 3.9k ohms, we've got some 150 ohms. We also have some of these pull-ups. So these are 8.2k ohm resistor arrays for yeah, various DRAM pull-ups. There's this big connector. Now this is the connector that connects, well, you know, interfaces this board to the actual Compaq Portable 2 main board. And this is, it's actually a pretty long pin header. The actual Amphenol part, you can't find it online at the moment. So I've actually used this. It is a TSW 12617T, and it is effectively the same pitch and pins, but it just doesn't have the shroud. So the original Amphenol actually has a surrounding around it, whereas this is clearly loosey-goosey. Now, I've decided to make a 3D model of the shroud alone, and it's modified to fit this pin header so that you could put that shroud in after the fact. I will be seeing about getting those 3D printed. My resin printer at the moment isn't working particularly well, but yeah, we'll see if I can get that before the build is done. Yeah, I think that's about it. There's really just some basic components, but there's a lot of, and it's going to take me ages to put this together. So no time like the present. Let's get started. Alrighty, now I've obviously bought too many resistors because I need one of these and two of those. But yeah, let's crack on. So that 150 goes on here in R3, and then the two 3.9Ks go over here in R9 and R10. Alright, let's do some capacitors next. These are 47 nanofarad, and we need 59 of them, and in this bag I have 100, so just over half. Oh dear. So that's in half, which means that is 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we cut there. I'm going to make this easier on myself. Whew, let's get soldering. Alrighty. Looks good so far. Let's clip those off. I'm going to be finding these everywhere. Ugh. Alright, capacitors and resistors. So now I do have a few tantalums that will need to go in, so let me grab those out as well. Now these are just 10 microfarad 16 volts, so I'll just grab them from my regular supplier. I didn't have to order. These are a pretty common tantalum value, so we will have, I think they're all populated, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's do those. Now, tantalums are polarized, so we will need to make sure that we note the polarization on the cap itself. You can see there the plus on the board, on the bottom of that. That indicates that this leg is positive. So when we look on the markings on the board itself, you can see we've got a positive there, which means the leg will go that way, and it's really going to upset me because I put the markings for all the other capacitors in the other direction, whereas the marking on this one is on this side. So I should have figured this out first. There we are. Oh well. Anyway, let's get to it. Capacitors in. So let's next get the resistor arrays in. I believe there's 2 of these needed, and these are the ones that are here. Again, these will have polarity marked with the little dot on the end here. That is pin 1, and then the others. Now, I don't think polarity is marked. No, it is not on the silk screen here, but I do know that pin 1 is on the left, so they will go here, like so. And I'll just use a little bit of washi to hold them down for when I flip the board. What I'll do is just pop 1 pin in on either of them, and then what we can do is, with the iron, I can hit that pin again, and then I can hold this in, hold it in the correct orientation with my other finger, and that will be nice and secure. So I'll do that one with this as well. There we go. Okay, and then do the rest of the pins. Alrighty. Now, well, the only thing left is all of the ICs and sockets. So I think what I'll do to start with is just get, I'm going to put in the logic ICs. So they will go here in this area. Let me go and figure out exactly where they go. So these two, 55 and 56, are these ones here, if you will focus, the 74 ALS 245s. The next one along, this is not what I have here, but this is a part that is compatible. So the official part is, I think it's a 734, which looks to be like a really custom part, but it's, yeah, it is completely compatible with this AM2966, and this is the one that I took straight off the Compaq Portable 2 mainboard itself. So this is the one that the Compaq actually uses, so I'm fine with using that in its place as well. And then the final one here is the 74F32, and you need to make sure it is the F, because that is the fast variant, and it can actually handle the DRAM speeds for whatever switching and logic and stuff it does. Anyway, let's get these on the board. Now, I'm not going to put these in sockets just because, well, I don't think they need to be. I'm just going to pop them straight in. If we ever need to replace them, I can just desolder them. It's no big deal. Now, because I did salvage these, the pins aren't the greatest. So what I'll be doing is I'll just use my flat pliers here and straighten the pins nice and flush so that they're good for resoldering. And then we'll go straight on board. Now I'll likewise just use a little bit of washi tape to hold those down. Alright, and that will hold them on until I can flip the board over, solder one pin in, and then do the same as before, flip them and align them correctly. So you can see they're all really wonkus on there. So what I'll do is, again, just going to hold that chip with my finger, heat the pad up, and then it'll sit nice and flush, and then rinse and repeat. And then they're now nicely aligned, good to go in. Okay, nice. Well, next up is really some memory. Now, this is the other part that's kind of hard to get at the moment because this board uses 41256 mem, which isn't available new any longer. So really what you've got is either new old stock or pretty much whatever you can source from China, which is, yeah, what I did. I do have a whole bunch of new old stock, but not enough to make the entire system. I could probably get about half with the stuff that I have new old stock that I actually know is new old stock. And unfortunately, I kind of want, I'm just particular, I want the whole board to be matching RAM. I know saying coming from China isn't matching RAM necessarily. It is a bit of a gamble, but it looks like the order that I got is actually pretty decent. So I did put in a big order for quite a number, and they came, well, not exactly in the best packaging. Yeah. However, I did test them, and they did test correctly. They do actually look like new old stock, not necessarily pulls. And I can tell that because the pin leads don't have any leftover solder on them. So when you get a chip that is a pull, there's always going to be solder left on the pins, whereas these pins are completely new. They do look like they may have been in sockets at some point and just pulled because there are scrapes on the sides, but definitely not desoldered at least. So yeah, and yeah, you can see there they are MN41256A-08, and that 8 means that these are 80 nanoseconds. I guess this is kind of where I commit. So I'm going to be soldering, as the original board did, the first bank or bank 2 of RAM, and then I will be socketing the last 2 banks. So let's dive into these. Now every single one of these, the legs are going to be splayed a bit too wide, so I'm going to have to I just push them against the board. I could probably get a one of those things that does it for you, the tools, but yeah, I'm a tool that does it for me. Alright, that is looking like it's coming together quite nicely. There is our first bank of memory installed. Alright, time for sockets. So I think I'll just do one of those transitions where I snap my fingers and the sockets are there. Ah, that worked pretty well, actually. Okay. I think the only thing to go now is that pin header that we spoke of before. So let's pop that in. And there we have it, the completed Compaq Portable 2 memory expansion board. That is awesome. Alright, time to populate these sockets with all this junk. Now Now, like I said earlier, these chips I got from China. I got them straight off AliExpress. They were cheap as, well, chips, but I didn't say that they were fake necessarily, but let's just have a quick another look at this, because here's something that I've noticed a couple of times now. Now, these two ICs have identical markings, which is rare, and all of them, literally every chip, has the exact same date code, which is incredibly rare to get. Now, the other thing that I note is that this chip's legs are shorter than that chip, and the pressings on the bottom are also different, which means these are all remarks. I mean, yeah, you've got to expect that. I fully expected that going into this, that these would be either fakes or remarked. Just something to be aware of if you're going to source memory ICs from AliExpress. They'll probably work fine. There's a whole variety of different ways in which AliExpress gets these memory ICs, and just ICs in general. I guess time will tell. Like I said, I've got enough new old stock that I can replace anything that's bad in here, but yeah, it was worth a shot. Like I said, it was cheap. I think this entire batch of memory, I got like 60 or something, was 20 bucks shipped to Australia, so I'm not losing out that much. Alright, anyway, let's continue. And there is our completed board. It's actually got some heft to it now. It's got all matching memory. We've got all of our logic, all of our capacitors, all of our resistors, and our connector on board. That is awesome. Now, the very, very final thing that this will need is some mounting standoffs. Now, the original unit had little plastic ones, and there's little mounting holes in the PCB itself where they go. And then it appears that they're still made today, or at least matching ones. So these are from Keystone, part number 8812. They're little standoffs. So let's get those in order. I'm not actually 100% sure which direction they go in. I think this side will go up like that, and then the other side will go into the main board. Guess we'll figure it out, hey. Alrighty, so obviously I've got the Compaq out on the board. I've taken the top off, and this is actually the underside. So the LCD, sorry, the CRT is over on this side, and yeah, it's upside down. And yeah, let's get into this access panel. This is where the memory expansion goes. Loosen that guy up, and then you've got to loosen these ones on the side as well. Okay, I'm missing that one, and there's one over here. And one there, and one there. And then that should just lift out. Yeah, there we go. All right, and there is our expansion spot. So let's pop our risers in for starters. Okay. Oh, that one's actually pushed in by the foot that's there. That's not good. Might just take that foot all the way off. Might put it in just a little bit further down. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, and then our board goes in. So it goes in that way. Let's line up the jumpers, make sure the pin header, you can't see it, but I can definitely see it through this gap here, is aligned. Let's start pressing it in. There we go. She's in. How good does that look? All right, let's pop the cover back on and then flip her over and give it a test. All right. Compaq's right side up again. We've got the keyboard out. You can see the screen, hopefully. It's got power. Let's give it a go. I've also got the setup disk handy, because I know the memory will be a mismatch, and I will need to go into the setup to reconfigure it. But yeah, let's Let's flip the switch and see what happens. Hopefully no bangs. Alright, seems to be powering on. Yeah, we've got video. Let's see our memory count. Oh, look at that! It's counting past 640. Yes! Oh my god. Oh, it only got up to 1 meg though. Ah. Okay, well, we'll figure that out. So, let's pop our setup disk in. And resume. There may be some jumpers or something that I misconfigured or didn't set. I don't know yet. Oof, that alignment is atrocious. What happened there? Well, and now it's back to good. I don't know. Well, memory size error. Yes. Parity error. Memory parity occurred during the sizing of memory. So the memory switches or jumpers may have been set to indicate that you have more memory. So yeah, I might need to check the memory settings. Yeah, why is the video all off to the wrong side? There we go. But let's see what it's detected. So yeah, it's detected 640K base and 512 of extended memory, but we definitely do have more than that. So I think that is only picking up bank 2. It's not picking up banks 3 and 4. So that's interesting. All right. Well, let me check the manual and we'll see if we have some jumpers or something that I need to configure.
3 days later.
Okay, here we are again, back with the Compaq. Now, it's been a few days. I spent an evening with my retro chip tester and all of the memory that I had in that expansion card. And yes, it actually turned out that there were 4 dead memory in there, and that is why it wasn't picking up the extra 1 megabyte, you know, the banks 3 and 4. So, however, we've got the full complement back in, and here's the thing ready to go. Power it on. So there we go, 320, 640, still counting. This is where it was stopping before at 1 meg, but we keep going. Yes! And there it goes, past 1.5, up to the full 2.1 megabytes of RAM. So that is that expansion card absolutely working. Oh yeah, so we've got a memory size error. We will need to go into the setup disk, which I did have around here somewhere. So there's the setup disk, let's pop that in. And boot into that, and we'll just make sure that that error is gone. Okay, memory size error, yep. And we just want to double check that it has picked up. So there we go, yeah, look at that. Base memory 640K, extended memory 1.5 megabytes for a total memory of 2,174 kilobytes. Beautiful. So all we need to do here is just exit, and that has updated the configuration automatically. Exit and save changes, and then once it reboots, we should be safe to pop the disk out. Now, I could probably actually upgrade to MS-DOS 5, and that would give us the DOS equals high option, which allows us to load MS-DOS into the high memory area, freeing up that first 640K. Yeah, we'll see. I don't really have much use for it on this system. I'm not entirely sure what I'll do with the 2 meg of it. It's mostly, you know, there. Shits and gigs. So, here we are. Well, there you have it. The Compaq Portable 2 memory expansion board, fully built and working. That is so cool. It's pretty rare that a prototype, you know, a board, actually goes that way, like a board like this, you know, reverse engineered, just works first out of the gate. I mean, it is a pretty simple circuit for what it what it is. And yeah, I'm just really so glad that we can, you know, kind of provide this back to the community. And hopefully someone out there wants the same board as is, you know, that's really cool. Like I said though, most of the work from this was done by BTB. He did all of the main tracing and, you know, all the thorough reverse engineering. I came in, gave some assistance where possible. You can have a read through the thread. Mostly did all the silk screen reproduction, stuff like that, because I'm that kind of particular. But yeah, no, huge shout out to BTB for doing the work. Big shout out also to Hojo Po, I think the username was, who actually had the original board and was able to give us the scans and everything. And yeah, GitHub link down below to the source where you can find the KiCad files and, you know, pre-made Gerbers or Gerbers, so that you can build your own if you'd like one. I do believe BTB is in the process of making a version of this that isn't the full size, because these are pretty expensive to build, but rather runs on 30-pin sims, so you can, you know, use a little half-size board but for the same capacity, and probably a little bit cheaper and easier to build than all of these sockets, unlike the idiot me. Now, what am I going to do with this? I don't know. I don't have much use for 2 meg of RAM on that 286. I've got plenty of other 286, like my Compaq Portable 3 up there. So this is more just an exercise in, you know, can we? And yes, we can. So yeah, there you go. Hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching.